July 29, 2020, photographer and self-proclaimed gadfly journalist Sean Thomas delivered 4 affidavits to the New York Police Department Transit District 11 station, which were accepted by Desk Officer Geraldine Diaz without incident. Approximately 4 months later, on December 2, 2020, Mr. Thomas returned to the station to deliver another affidavit to Officer Mohammed Ashraf.
Thanks. The officer's name is on it. Huh?
Where's it coming from?
What? It's for the officer. Just hand it to the officer.
Yeah, but who you are?
I'm delivering, just a messenger.
Yo. Come over here.
Don't put your hands on me, man.
Yo, they told you to stop.
I don't give a f. Don't put
They
your
told you
hands
to
on
stop.
me. I don't care. You don't put
You
your hands
stop.
on me. You don't put your
They
hands
told you
on
to
me.
stop, right?
As Mr. Thomas is leaving the police station, a plainclothes officer grabs his arm and orders him to stop, without identifying himself as a police officer. As the name suggests, plainclothes officers are police officers who wear regular civilian clothing instead of a police uniform. While, contrary to popular belief, plainclothes officers generally do not have to disclose their status as an officer, even when asked directly, they normally must identify themselves when stopping an individual or otherwise asserting their authority as an officer.
Come here. Sir, come here.
There you go.
Yo. Come over here, man.
Yo, get your hands
Come
off
on.
me.
Come on.
Hold on, who are you? Who are
I'm
you?
a cop, too.
He's a cop.
I'm a
Identify
cop.
yourself.
He's a cop. I'm telling you.
Identify
We're all
yourself.
cops here. We're all cops here.
Get your hands off of me.
Don't do that. We'll put you through.
Yeah,
All
put
right?
me through. Put me
Put you
through.
through.
Put me
Put you
through.
through.
We'll see how that works out.
Just sit down, baby.
No, I'm not. I'm not sitting down. I'm not sitting down. That's right. Put me in cuffs. Go ahead. Put me in cuffs.
What's going on? You're
Put
delivering?
me in cuffs. You the sergeant?
Yeah.
You have a
Nigga, put your hands down. Don't point at
you
him.
have an obligation to intervene.
got cuffs.
You have an
Give me cuffs.
affirmative obligation. You got a crime? You got a crime?
I didn't know what you handed me.
You have an obligation.
I didn't know what you handed me.
Do you have a crime?
Where did you?
So you don't know if you have a
We
crime.
don't know.
So you don't know. That's not a reason to detain somebody. Now, why am I being detained?
We don't know.
I want suspicion of the crime. That's not how it works. You get a suspicion of a crime. Give me the suspicion of the crime.
The sergeant informs Mr. Thomas that he is being detained because they do not know what is in the package he delivered, and Mr. Thomas argues that because the officers cannot tell him what crime they suspect him of, they cannot detain him. An officer may, consistent with the Fourth Amendment, conduct a brief investigatory stop when the officer has a reasonable, articulable suspicion that criminal activity is afoot. Reasonable suspicion is a less demanding standard than probable cause, which is the standard that's required to make an arrest. Here, Mr. Thomas was not involved in criminal activity, as it's not illegal to deliver documents to a police station without identifying yourself.
We're going to check your pockets.
You don't have to search my pocket.
Yes, you're not
That's
custody
Fourth
now.
Amendment violation. I'm in your custody. I'm in your
Well,
I'm
you know
lawfully
what?
in your custody.
You know what?
And you have an obligation to intervene. You're
I'm
personally
asking
liable.
you who you are.
I don't give a what you're asking. What obligation am I under to answer your question?
All right, so we don't know what's in here. We're asking you what it is. You are the one bringing this here.
That's right.
Exactly. So
That's right.
What are you bringing here? We asked the questions here because you came into our
I'm
place.
under no lawful obligation to answer your question.
Oh, because you
I am. What law? Cite the law that I'm obligated to answer your question.
you're not-
Cite it. Set the up and cite it.
I'll tell you, it's simple. You brought this here.
Yeah.
We need to know what it is.
Okay, fine. What crime have I committed? What crime
We're
have I
about to
committed?
find out. I'll tell you that.
While Mr. Thomas is in handcuffs, the officers search his pockets and eventually discover a knife. It's important to note that even if the officers had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. Thomas, returning him to the police station, placing him in handcuffs, and searching his pockets were likely unconstitutional violations of his Fourth Amendment rights.
That's not how it
You
works.
can't-
You
you
don't
can't-
detain
sir.
somebody and then go on a fishing
Sir,
expedition.
you can't just drop a package here and walk out. You don't want to answer anything. We got to
Yeah,
know
well,
what
I tell
you're
you
dropping
what, you
off.
better have a crime. You better have a crime.
What is dropping off?
You better have a
We
crime.
asked
when
you
your
who
ass is on the
you
line.
are. You refuse.
I'm under no obligation to answer your question. What
dropping off
lawful
something
obligation
here.
am I
Sir,
under?
you
What
dropping
lawful
off a package
obligation
here.
am I under to answer your
Sir,
question?
you dropping
have
off a
the
package.
lawful obligation
I
to
concede
tell us
that.
what's
No,
going on.
what
Okay,
lawful
who are
obligation am
you?
I under to answer your
You
question?
want me to accept a packet? Who are you?
What lawful obligation am
That's
I
not
under
a
to
question.
It's for
answer
our
your
own
question?
safety. I don't know what's this.
What
What is
lawful
this? What is
obligation am I
this?
under to
Sir, what
answer
is
your
this?
question?
What is this?
Open.
I'm not going to open it. I don't know what is it. Where's your ID that you're a delivery person?
What obligation am I under the...
You're
You're supposed to have your ID. If you're a delivery person, you're supposed to expose your ID.
Unlawful search and seizure, you're party to it.
If you...
Your ass is out.
It's all right. Who's this?
As long as you say it's all right. So do you have any cash on you?
Where's your ID as a delivery person? Where's your ID? You have a delivery ID that you work for a company that you deliver package? I want to see that ID. And I want to call your company and see
I
who
do
you
not
are.
consent to searches and seizures. This is against my will.
After the officers completed their search, Mr. Thomas was taken to a holding cell, where he was held for over 5 hours. After being charged with 1 count of criminal possession of a weapon, Mr. Thomas was eventually released, and the charge against him was later dropped. On December 7th, 2020, Mr. Thomas filed a formal complaint with the Civilian Complaint Review Board, and on October 13th, 2021, he filed a pro se civil rights lawsuit in the Bronx, New York Supreme Court. Both the complaint investigation and the lawsuit are still pending.